The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Scores of documents have fallen into our hands and then been reported by the mainstream news to be authentic, that the main enemy of the federal government is gun owners, returning veterans, libertarians, in the fetters, anti-war activists, and they're having drills all over the country. They're working with every local law enforcement group. This has been declassified, that militias are going to attack police departments with IEDs, with explosives. And we have this latest drill where they have Tea Party and, basically in the Fed groups, anti-Federal Reserve groups that are going to protest. And then it leads to that they're going to attack with militias, and they mix white supremacists in with it in the drill. And if you don't know the military psychology, folks, they drill you to also prepare for the attack, but to also demonize the groups you're going to be fighting. Remember, it came out with these shooting drills at schools in Michigan where they would say homeschoolers against government education. That was the one group. Came in, didn't announce to the kids. It was the police posing as homeschooling parents who were going to kill children. That's a way to demonize homeschoolers. It's asinine. And I can think of no better guest to talk about this. We're going to get into some other issues as well. Is Dr. Bob Bowman, Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Air Force retired, President of the Institute for Space and Security Studies, Executive Vice President, Millennium 3 Corporation, retired, presiding, and it just goes on and on here. He 101 combat missions as a fighter pilot in Vietnam, the head of the DoD Star Wars programs under 2 presidents. And we appreciate him coming on. www.thepatriots.us is his website. Dr. Bob Bowman, recap what you were saying in the last segment and spend some time on this and your concerns. And then you brought up Oath Keepers, and I have all these mainstream news articles saying they are treasonous. Here's Mother Jones. Oath Keepers in the age of treason. When all Oath Keepers is saying is, we will not confiscate guns, we will not take people to FEMA camps, we will follow the Nuremberg Code, and which isn't, I guess, even taught anymore to the military. Dr. Bob Bowman, good to have you here with us.
Well, thank you. And, saying that Oath Keepers is against the Obama administration is ridiculous, because we started Oath Keepers way back under George W. Bush. This organization is not against any particular administration. This organization is sworn to follow their oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. And these organizations, the military and law enforcement, are supposed to protect the Constitution and the people of the United States. And it doesn't matter who it is that's trying to do the people in, and if they try and get the military and law enforcement to do it, and it seems like they're trying to demonize the American people and people like militias and gun owners and Oath Keepers and 9/11 truthers, and goes on and on. I don't think they're going to succeed, but it's a real battle, and it's one that I'm going to be engaged in with our organization, the Patriots, because I'm sure that with the name we have now, the Patriots, they're going to demonize us as well, and we're going to keep working with the Pentagon to inform them of the facts and their duty and how all this stuff fits in. As you know, 3 years ago, I sent a letter to the generals and admirals of the Pentagon saying that they must not attack Iran, and if anybody orders them to do it, they should arrest whoever did it as a war criminal. In the same way now, I'm going to be sending a letter reminding them that the American people are not their enemy. And if somebody orders them to round up Americans, dissenters though we may be, they must not only refuse that order, but consider arresting whoever gave it.
Absolutely. For someone who studied history, someone who's been a military officer, commanding the Star Wars system, I mean, this was always taught 101 to even low-level officers, that in a tyranny, they try to use the military against the people. This is called a military-industrial complex coup. This is, anyone that does this is engaged in treason. And now the Oath Keepers have their 10 pledges that are all right out of the Bill of Rights, all right out of the Constitution. Yep. And to then demonize them and to have mock drills where it says, it starts out with a Tea Party protest against the Federal Reserve in these documents, and then it leads to former military people trying to sniper troops in the drill. And so they're teaching the military that the American people are going to try to kill you. I mean, this is amazing brainwashing, and it really shows us clearly just another example of what's going on inside the Justice Department, inside the Pentagon, inside local police that are part of this drill to take on the American people. I mean, they are clearly quietly building this system for the American people, saying it was for outside groups, just as Hitler did. And now they're openly getting their people ready to go up against the American people. And as we talked about last week, Dr. Bowman, Colonel Bowman, I believe they're going to stage false flags. We see the preparatory brainwashing in the media for this against government installations, military bases, you name it, to then create the self-fulfilling prophecy to sick a martial law scenario on the population. I mean, we're 2 minutes to midnight now. Yeah,
I think they very well may try it, but again, there are high-ranking people in the military that are aware of this stuff, and just like back when it was Iran that Cheney and company was trying to attack. There are going to be people up there that say, not on my watch.
Well, yeah, I mean, talk about Fox Fallon, the head of CENTCOM, resigned and said, I'm not going to launch an illegal attack on Iran.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And there's going to be more people like him. And
well, for those that don't know, who don't know military history, international law, attacking a country first, I mean, that is one of the greatest crimes you can commit.
That's right. And of course, we've already done it twice recently in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Claiming that they carried out 9/11, and of course, just in a nutshell, Colonel, what happened on 9/11?
Well, we don't know really who did it, but we can be doggone sure that it wasn't 19 Arabs with box cutters and an old man in a cave on a dialysis machine. We know that there was a lot more to it than that. That those demonized enemies could not have sidelined our whole air defense system. They could not have pre-wired the buildings with nanothermite to bring them down in a controlled demolition fashion. They just couldn't have done it. And we know for sure that the official conspiracy theory that the Bush administration put together is totally impossible. So on 9/11, we had the greatest crime of the century and perhaps of recent time. And we still don't know who did it because the 9/11 Commission wasn't asked to find out who did it. As a matter of fact, we now know that they were specifically told not to ask that question, not to worry about who did it. They said, we know who did it. Just tell us, where intelligence failed. So what the important thing is what happened after 9/11. Because after 9/11, the Taliban rulers of Afghanistan offered to give us Osama bin Laden if we had evidence against him so that we could put him on trial for 9/11. And, of course, the Bush administration ignored that offer of the Taliban for two reasons. One, of course, they had no evidence against Osama bin Laden and still don't, and they probably knew at that point who did it and, of course, are covering it all up and protecting whoever did it. And secondly, they had already planned in detail the invasion of Afghanistan because Afghanistan wouldn't give Unocal a gas pipeline.
In fact, the BBC and Associated Press have reported that in the 3 months before 9/11, tens of thousands of U.S. and British troops were massed in the stands around Afghanistan. The carriers were in place. It takes months to get an invasion like that ready. And Bush, on September 10th, according to Newsweek, signed the attack order to launch the attack in the next 2 weeks on September 10th. The day before it happened, and Jeb Bush, AP reported, was preparing for martial law in Florida. And expanding on that, originally a real letter was put out by bin Laden and a statement that was confirmed to be authentic, that he did not do it. But then they had all these fake websites and fake videos that have been proven to be fake, where he said that he did do it. And now they'll have a Facebook account 2 weeks ago saying he did it, and it turned out it was completely fake and some kid was running it, but the news for a week reported, oh, look, bin Laden has said he did it again.